Most people have been taught that wealth is supposed to be obvious. A huge house, an expensive watch, a luxury car, a lifestyle that makes everyone turn their heads. But the truth is, real wealth is often much quieter. Because the moment everyone knows you have money, that money starts working differently. Suddenly, the phone calls start coming. People need favors. Family members begin watching your spending. Strangers make assumptions about what you can afford, and before you realize it, you're no longer focused on building wealth. You're spending your energy protecting it. That's why many truly wealthy black families choose to move differently. They stay low-key, not because they're pretending, but because they understand something important. Wealth needs protection. A lot of people were taught the wrong definition of success. We were told that when you finally make it, you have to show it. You have to prove that you escaped struggle. You have to display the life you worked so hard to create. And for many Black Americans, that feeling is understandable. After generations of being overlooked, underestimated, and denied opportunities, success can feel deeply personal. It can feel like validation. It can feel like finally being seen and being able to say, I made it. That feeling is real, but that same feeling can become expensive. Because there is a major difference between looking wealthy and actually being financially secure. Looking wealthy gets attention. Being financially secure creates freedom. Looking wealthy gets compliments. Being secure gives you choices. The problem is that appearances can disappear quickly. A job loss, an unexpected medical bill, a market downturn, or one bad financial decision can expose how fragile that image really was. But real wealth is built so quietly that people may not even realize you have it until decades later, when your children and grandchildren are still benefiting from what you created. That's the part many people miss. The goal was never to impress people who aren't paying your bills. The goal was always to build a life where money no longer controls your decisions. Think about someone you've probably seen before. Every community has a person like this. They don't stand out. They don't wear designer clothes every weekend. They don't walk into every room trying to prove something. They drive the same reliable car for years. Their clothes are simple. Their home looks comfortable but ordinary. Most people underestimate them. But what they don't know is that this person owns real estate. They have investments growing in the stock market. They don't have a car payment. They aren't drowning in credit card debt. They have emergency savings. They have built a life where they are financially prepared. Then one day, something happens. Maybe a family member gets sick. Maybe someone loses their job. Maybe an unexpected crisis hits the people around them. And suddenly, that person who seemed ordinary becomes the calmest person in the room. That's wealth, not attention, not showing off. Calm. That is what people with a long-term wealth mindset protect. They protect their peace. So why do many wealthy Black Americans choose to move quietly? The first reason is that wealth attracts pressure. And I'm not just talking about jealousy or negativity. I'm talking about responsibility. Once people believe you have money, they start connecting your resources to their problems. You're expected to help, expected to lend money, expected to step in, expected to prove that you still have enough. And for many Black families, when one person becomes financially successful, that success often carries the hopes and struggles of an entire family network. That can be something beautiful. Helping your loved ones is meaningful. Supporting your community matters, but it can also become a heavy burden because your money stops being just your money. It becomes everyone's emergency plan, everyone's backup option, everyone's symbol that the family finally made it. That's a lot of pressure for one person to carry. So some wealthy people learn to stay quiet, not because they don't care, but because they understand that too much visibility can create too many obligations, and those obligations can slowly drain the wealth they worked so hard to build. The second reason many wealthy Black families keep their finances private is because real wealth is much easier to protect than it is to rebuild. A large number of wealthy Black Americans are first-generation wealth builders. They aren't managing a fortune that was handed down through multiple generations. They built it themselves. And when you build something from nothing, you understand the value of protecting it. You don't risk decades of work just to impress people for a few seconds. You don't trade ownership for attention. You don't sacrifice long-term security for short-term approval. When you understand the cost of building wealth, the barriers, the missed opportunities, the sacrifices, the mistakes, and the discipline it took to get there, your mindset changes. You stop asking, how do I look successful? And you start asking, how do I make sure this lasts? Those are two completely different ways of thinking. The third reason wealthy people stay quiet is because privacy itself is a form of protection. When too many people know about your finances, your life becomes more complicated. You become easier to judge, easier to pressure, easier to criticize, easier for people to feel entitled to your resources. And sometimes people don't even want your money. They want access to your time, your energy, and your peace. Quiet wealth protects all three. It protects your family. It protects your business. It protects your mental health. Not everything needs to be announced. Not every purchase needs a picture. Not every achievement needs a social media post. Not every blessing needs an audience. Some things grow better in private. Think about a seed. You don't dig it up every few days just to prove that it's growing. You protect it. You water it. You give it time. Wealth works the same way. The people who look rich are often making payments. The people who are truly wealthy are often making plans. That's the difference. Someone trying to look wealthy may have the luxury car, the designer clothes, and the expensive lifestyle. Someone building real wealth may have no unnecessary debt, strong retirement accounts, business income, cash reserves, and assets that continue producing money even when they're not actively working. One person buys symbols, the other builds systems. One person wants to be seen. The other wants to be secure. One person says, look at what I have. The other says, I want my children and grandchildren to be financially protected. And if you're just starting your financial journey, this is one of the most important lessons you can learn. Don't spend your proof. Don't spend your future trying to prove your present, because every dollar you use to impress other people is a dollar that cannot protect you later. Now, maybe you're listening and thinking, that sounds great, but I'm not wealthy yet. That's exactly why this matters. You don't wait until you become wealthy to start thinking like someone who builds wealth. You develop those habits while you're still growing. Because your habits usually grow before your bank account does. If every extra dollar you earn immediately becomes a lifestyle upgrade, your income might increase, but your peace won't. You can make more money and still feel behind. You can earn more and still feel pressure. You can increase your income and still feel financially fragile. That's not wealth. That's expensive stress. Keeping your wealth private doesn't mean pretending you're broke. It doesn't mean living in fear. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy the money you've earned. It means you stop performing your money for other people. It means your life is no longer a public announcement of your financial progress. It means your goals become bigger than attention. You can dress well. You can enjoy nice things. You can live comfortably. But there's wisdom in creating a gap between what you earn and what people assume you earn. That gap is where peace exists. That's where investments grow. That's where emergencies get handled. That's where retirement gets built. That's where family wealth begins. So what does this actually look like in real life? It starts with living slightly below your means. Not 10 levels below. Not denying yourself everything. Just one level below what you can technically afford. That single decision can completely change your financial future. It gives you breathing room. It gives you the ability to save. It gives you options when life becomes unpredictable. The second step is buying assets before buying symbols. Before upgrading the car, ask yourself, do I have enough saved? Before buying expensive clothes or designer items, ask, am I investing consistently? Before spending money to show people a lifestyle, ask, do I have an emergency fund? Because wealthy people understand something simple. An asset can continue paying you back. An image usually cannot. The third step is stopping the habit of announcing every win. Everyone does not need a front row seat to your financial journey. Sometimes the smartest move is to stay quiet and let your results speak later. You don't owe the internet proof that your life is improving. And you don't owe everyone around you an explanation of how much you earn, what you bought, or how much you've saved. The fourth step is setting boundaries early. If you become the person everyone turns to for every financial emergency without limits, your money can disappear quickly. Helping people is a good thing. Destroying your own future to constantly rescue others is not. You can love your family and still have boundaries. You can support people and still say, I can't do that right now. That's not selfish. That's financial maturity. The fifth step is automating your wealth so your emotions don't control your decisions. Automate your savings. Automate your investments. Automate your debt payments. Because if your entire financial plan depends on feeling motivated and disciplined every single month, life will eventually interrupt that plan. Quiet wealth is often boring. And that's the secret. It's not dramatic, it's not flashy, it's not loud, it's consistent.